Do 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 at a stroll at the park. Oh yeah, we are live on YouTube. How is everybody doing today? I hope you're all having an amazing day. It's a beautiful, gorgeous Sunday out here. And there are lots of dogs at the park just barking their heads off. Just amazing. Yeah, construction at the park. This is what I have to drive over to get to the other side of this lot. They've really changed things up here. Anyway, let me try to walk through this section here before I get into it. Oh, man. Okay. The little doggy wanted to check me out. It's those little dogs that you have to be kind of worried about because they've got the small dog syndrome, right? Just like you probably heard of like short man syndrome, right? No disrespect to short guys. I'm just saying, small man's complex. You've all heard of that, right? Dogs have the same thing. It's funny to me how much louder those little small dogs are than the big dogs, right? And you can hear the pitch in their bark compared to the bigger dogs, right? The small dogs have like a little whiny type of bark, and then the bigger dogs have the woof, like the big bass, deep bass type of bark, right? Like the German Shepherds and the Labrador Retrievers and the Pit Bulls and all those dogs considered to be, vicious animals. Now you can tame them, obviously, and they can be great pets, but they are technically considered vicious animals, like shepherds and pit bulls and temper wolves and stuff like that. What a great name for a dog, temper wolf. When I was growing up, we had a half German Shepherd, half temper wolf. This guy was like 80 pounds. And they get bigger. They get to over 100 pounds. So he was like a middle-sized dog, but 80 pounds is still a pretty big damn dog, right? And this guy used to bark a lot, all the time. My friends used to call him Bob Barker. You remember Bob Barker from The Price is Right? They used to call him Bob Barker because he would bark all the time at anything and everything. He was very protective, but when I would play with him, he was like the sweetest dog, right? But if he had to protect the house, that's his job, right? Anyway, how are you all doing? How's your weekend been so far? I've had a phenomenal weekend, and I'm just feeling that my weekend's going to get even better because I had a nice conversation with my lady while she was on her lunch break earlier today. And it was just an amazing conversation. I'm not going to really get into it, but it's always nice when the people you're associating with are in a good place and they're relaxed and they're chill and they're not screaming at you. And it's a really nice feeling when there's no drama involved. Let's just put it that way. Drama seems to be a constant topic that somehow keeps finding its way back to this channel, even though I'm not a drama channel. And the reason is because what I do as a coach primarily involves helping people rise above all the drama. So that way, you can learn to love yourself more and be happy deep within to the point of where nothing bothers you. And that way you can focus on, what truly makes you happy, right? Because if you continue to invest yourself in endless nonsensical drama, like I've always said, not only you're not going to have the time to focus on positive things, you're not going to have the energy either, even if you want to focus on positive things after dealing with drama. Drama drains you so much, right, that you just don't feel like doing shit afterwards, right? So what's the easiest way to change this? Just don't put yourself in that position in the first place, right? When I used to, involve myself with drama with my friends in my younger days, and even some drama years ago on YouTube, right? At first I didn't really realize how much it was affecting me, right? And you don't realize it until it burns you out emotionally, which further burns you out physically, right? You get to the point when you've had so much drama and BS in your life, and you hate the feeling that comes afterwards, the draining feeling, like you don't want to do shit for the rest of the day or maybe the rest of the week, and you just feel like sleeping all the time, right? And you feel like you just want to shut down the entire world, right? So once you can identify what it does for you and you don't like feeling that way, then you start to figure out what it takes to not feel that way. Just ignoring drama. Don't deal with it. Just don't let it get to you, right? And that's the point I'm at in my life. And that's the point I hope one day to help each and every one of you get to, right? You get to such a level of deep peace within yourself, right? You get to such a great level of self-worth and self-love, right? And it just changes your life because you don't let anything bother you. And you're so tired of it that you learn to see signs of any future drama coming your way, and then you immediately block it out before it can even infest you, right? That's how good I've gotten. That's how good I want to help you folks get, right? Well, today I have a very serious topic. It's a very serious topic. It is probably one of the most serious topics I've ever discussed. I've probably talked about this topic at times throughout some past live streams throughout the years from my studio, but I've never really dedicated an entire show to this. And today I really felt the need to dedicate an entire show to this because, to this day, I still have many friends that are struggling with this, and they've been trying to rise above it and get better, but they still haven't risen above it. And that's primarily one of the reasons why I don't hang around with these friends anymore, because I just don't want to get sucked into their negative vortex, their unhappy vortex. I just don't want to, diminish myself to the level of where I feel they've diminished themselves. And if at some point soon they don't turn things around, they may diminish permanently, right? Okay, I'm going to wait a second here. I think we are back. The 5G tower already cut me off like 9 minutes into the show. There are a lot of people at the park today, and they're probably all on their smartphones, right? Sucking up internet bandwidth from the cell tower, which is quite a lot. I'm not exactly sure how much bandwidth each cell tower has, but it's probably at least one. It's a 1 gigabit fiber line at least, which is 1,000 up and 1,000 down. It could be even more. But when you've got, let's say, 500 devices, trying to use, even 2 megabits of internet service to watch a YouTube video or something you're sucking up that entire 1,000 up, 1,000 down fiber line, right? And that's what I think is happening. So it is what it is. Like I always do. I, just reset my connection, relaunch the YouTube app, hit resume, and we're back live. Give me a second here. I've got a car coming here going very, very slow. I need to get into some shade so I can read the chat because I know we got some messages coming in. Give me just a second here, folks. Oh, God, that sun is nasty. Let's see here. Derek, welcome back. Host, I'm leaving you a like and shout and sharing you out. Thanks for the never-ending positive content. Well, you're quite welcome, Derek. Thank you for continuing to support the channel. I appreciate that. So before we get to the topic today, which involves alcohol and alcoholism and alcoholics, any way you want to put it, I wanted to take the first part of this show and just briefly, share with you folks the latest regarding the Joe Rogan situation. And you may be wondering, how is this pertinent to, my show and me as a life coach? Well, everything involves life, right? And right now, based on what's happening with Joe Rogan, I hate to admit this, but he's like larger than life. Like whether you love him or hate him or you're indifferent in the middle, right? Whether you've known about him from the past or not, I'm sure everyone knows about him by now because of the incredible amounts of controversy him and his show and, people associated with him have created. And, I've got to say, I tuned this stuff out. Sure, you can't help getting trending news topics on your phone. So it's almost like you can't even avoid hearing about these things, even if you want to completely tune it out. But you don't have to let it affect your days, right? And I just wanted to share my thoughts briefly on what I feel is going to happen to Joe Rogan on Spotify. I'm going to make a prediction here. In the same ways I've accurately predicted, I shall say, other content creators shutting their channels down out here on YouTube that I've known for a while based on their trends and what they do and how people react to them and how they let people get to them, right? So I'm going to make a prediction. At some point this year, before the end of the year, and it's probably going to be sooner, at some point this year, one of two things is going to happen regarding Joe Rogan's show, the Joe Rogan Experience on Spotify. Either A, Spotify is going to force him to tame his show and ask him to be a bit more careful with what he says and does and who he brings on the show. Or B, they're going to remove Joe Rogan and pay out his huge contract. I think what's going to happen is that they're going to remove Joe Rogan and they're going to pay out his contract. And I think, if I had to make this prediction, that this was all a part of Spotify's strategy initially. And most people are not looking this far ahead or digging this deep, but I've seen shit like this happen on the internet many, many times. It's all a marketing ploy, in my opinion, right? Why did Spotify pay $100 million to put Joe Rogan on their platform in the first place? Because it was huge exposure, and he has one of the largest audiences, period, that's ever existed online or in the mainstream media, right? It's a pretty big following to have 10 million people, right? So they wanted to leverage that and build their subscriber base and basically just get a ton of advertising off of Joe Rogan's name, right? But what's happening lately, like I've been mentioning, what's been happening? Spotify removed like over 113 episodes as far as I know. I don't know if they've removed any more since the 113 that was announced yesterday. But Spotify removed those episodes because Joe Rogan used the N-word multiple times through those episodes. And whether that word was used in the right context or not is irrelevant. It just should not be used, right? And Joe knows why he used that word, because he knows it stirs up the pot and creates controversy and is going to trigger people, And it's funny. It's like the conservatives, the right wingers, are more so the conservative extremists, which I like to call the alt-right, the Trump supporters. They like to say, oh, it's you liberals that are totally against freedom of speech and this and that, and you're trying to silence, Joe from speaking what's on his mind. Well, see, if Joe created his own platform and hosted his own platform, right, and wasn't on a contract by some other company, then Joe can do whatever the hell he wants. But he's on a public platform that he doesn't own, and there are some things that he needs to abide by and think twice about before he does being on that platform. Because his actions on that platform are going to affect the entire platform, even aspects outside of his show. Spotify was started as a music streaming service. It was never known to be like, a video podcasting service. It's evolved into that, like many other platforms have, right? But what got Spotify off the ground many, many years ago? It was their music catalog of digital music from popular artists with their copyright music, and they have agreements with those artists to use their music. That's the purpose of the site, right? But because of the incredible amounts of controversy and, in my opinion, stupid shit that Joe Rogan has been doing, I think he's been purposefully doing it just to stir up the pot and get attention. It's upsetting. It's making a lot of people unhappy. Primarily people that, primarily artists that, have a contract with Spotify to have their music on there, right? And it's also upsetting, in my opinion, the majority of the people in this world, right? Now, like I mentioned, I believe yesterday or the day before when I talked about this, why does it appear like, there's more support for Joe Rogan and more support towards, him saying that people are violating his freedom of speech? It's because this smaller audience, give me a second, I've got a lot of people here. It's a very, very busy day at the park. Wow, what a busy day at the park, I'll tell you that. The people that support Joe Rogan and the type of content he creates, in my opinion, if we had to go at a global level, I'd have to assume like 25% of the world is into his type of content, and these people have a similar lifestyle and outlook on things as Joe does, right? And here in the U.S., I like to call those people the alt-right, the alternative right. These people say they're conservatives, but they're not really conservatives, because real conservatives don't behave this way. It's more so the alt-right, right? So when you have about 25% of the population in the world that believes in what Joe's saying and this type of content, and these are people that are just anti-government, anti-vax, anti-mask, right? All these people that go against any form of government that's trying to make our lives better, right? These are the alt-right people, and they consist of, in my opinion, and from what I've seen, about 25% of the world, and practically about 25% of the U.S. here where I live. So those people, 25% is nowhere near the majority of 100%. But see, these 25% of people have the loudest voices because these people are unhappy, they're miserable, and they have so much free time on their hands. With no disrespect, a lot of them are probably disabled and can't work. They're on SSI disability, sitting at home all day, or, they're, second or third class citizens that, live in poverty, or, they're lower middle class to lower class types of people, and they're uneducated people too, right? That's why they make the biggest noise, because they have the most time on their hands. The rest of the people, the 75%ers like myself, we're too busy working, spending time with family, and doing positive, productive things to even have enough time to retaliate this stupidity. And at the same time, we don't even want to retaliate against it because it's not worthy, or it's not worth our time to go against these types of people. But the truth of the matter is, the majority of people, whether they're actively voicing their opinions on social media or not, the majority of the people are against and anti Joe Rogan. They're against what he's saying and doing and want him removed, right? And I'm honestly one of those that thinks he should be removed. I don't think he is good for our society because his outlooks don't involve the best overall interest of everyone, right? He's targeting one small audience, the 25%ers I mentioned, right? And these are the most vulnerable people on the planet due to their lack of education. Again, they come from poverty. They're lower middle class to lower class people. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to these people. I'm just saying these people are very vulnerable and will give their time to anyone that pays attention to them. And guys like Joe Rogan know how to take advantage of these people. Also, guys like Donald Trump know how to take advantage of these people, right? That's why these people will practically do whatever Trump or Joe Rogan says, because they got nothing better to do. They're so unhappy and miserable in their lives, and this makes them feel like they're doing something or working towards accomplishing something. It's surreal, right? And these guys like Joe Rogan have just learned how to market to these people, right? But it's always about the majority, right? It's always about whatever the majority wants is going to prevail. And I'll tell you why. Because this is a similar situation on Spotify as what happened on YouTube, like in 2016, 2017, with something called the adpocalypse for monetized YouTube channels like mine, right? The advertisers back then were unhappy that their ads were going on content that didn't suit the audience their ads were trying to hit, right? And what happened, right? Let's say if YouTube was putting MaxiPad ads on channels that were spewing hate against women, and a woman just decided to tune in to hear what, the smack that guys are talking about, and then before they tuned in, they saw an ad on MaxiPads, they're thinking, why the hell is YouTube advertising MaxiPads on a man's hate channel for women, right? Right? So the advertiser said, look, YouTube, you got to find a better way to distribute our ads, or we're going to pull the plug on advertising with you, right? Thus forcing YouTube to create the yellow icon and create advertiser-friendly guidelines, which I honestly, to this day, I think is a phenomenal idea. Hasn't affected me one bit. Why? Because I follow the ad-friendly guidelines. And even if they weren't there, I'd still follow them because I'm a good person, right? I don't violate the rules, right? I'm a good person, right? So YouTube had to create stricter rules to qualify for monetization. And if you wanted to monetize individual videos, once you get monetized, you have to follow the ad-friendly guidelines, right? And if you violated the ad-friendly guidelines too much, then they would remove you from the YouTube Partner Program. Sounds fair to me, right? I've been a part of the YouTube Partner Program on this channel for over 2 years with no problems. And all my videos are green and monetized, right? So what's happening with Spotify? More and more musicians are saying, hey, look, we don't want to have our music play on your platform anymore. Well, they're asking why. Because we don't agree with what Joe Rogan is saying. And while it's not our place to tell you to remove him or, try to tame him a bit, we don't want to associate our music with a platform that supports someone like him. And these music right holders and these musicians, they have the right to do that. Because like I've always said in the past, you are who you associate with, right? Right? If you're putting your beautiful catalog of music, that talks about love and peace and happiness and romance on a platform that has a show with a man that says the N-word on 113 episodes, right? That doesn't make any sense, right? Right? It's two totally different things, right? I honestly think that Spotify has shot themselves in the foot by having Joe Rogan on their platform. And I think more and more artists are going to pull out. And what happens, let's say 90% of the artists pull out. Joe Rogan's show alone, especially with this $100 million contract that Spotify still has to pay, right? Joe Rogan's show alone is not going to, keep the platform afloat. Spotify will go bankrupt, right? And remember, it's all about the majority, right? To you 25%ers out there that are anti-government, anti-vax, mask, just everything, right? To you alt-right people, yeah, you got a big voice and you know how to use your voice, but you're only about 25% of the global population and about 25% of the U.S. population. The rest of the population, for the most part, is on the opposite end of the spectrum. So who do you think is going to prevail in this situation? The majority always prevails. This is not about silencing Joe Rogan or anything like that. This is about what the majority of people want and are willing to pay for, right? And if the majority of subscribers on Spotify are there for the music, right? And they all cancel their subscriptions, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? Is Joe Rogan's show going to sustain the entire platform? No. They're going to have to pay out his contract and then get rid of him, right? And then try to rebuild and then try to apologize and try to get back these artists on their platform, which was the original purpose of their business in the first place. That's my prediction. And that's as far as I'm going to go regarding the Joe Rogan thing. I just think you folks should all stop feeding into drama. One more thing. I've been following this channel, The Quartering, run by a 38-year-old millennial named Jeremy. He has over 1 million subs, and I've respected his work for the most part, even though I think he's more on the right. He's not an extremist, but I think he's more conservative than liberal, right? No big deal, right? But I started following his tweets on Twitter several months ago, and I have the bell on, so I get every single tweet. And honestly, all Jeremy does, The Quartering does, is he goes out there and stirs up the drama pot, like he feeds into drama. It's like, and the thing is, do I really think that Jeremy from the Quartering is a drama king? Or I like to call even men drama queens because it's a feminine thing, right? Do I think he's really a drama king or queen? No. I think he knows the value of drama and controversy and intentionally stirring up the pot to keep all eyes on him. So Jeremy's doing it on the Quartering channel. Joe Rogan has been doing it forever. Donald Trump, while he was in office, was the biggest drama queen on the planet. These are all male drama queens. That's all it is. And once you folks realize this, that these are all just male drama queens just trying to get attention, right? And keep their name in the spotlight, you might learn how to avoid this and stop wasting your time, right? And focus on better things. Just like in the last election, America spoke. Trump did not get reelected, right? He didn't get reelected for the same reasons I've been talking about here. People had enough of the drama. They had enough of somebody being so selfish to the point of where he would rather go golfing during the last 2 months of being in office than taking care of the serious nature of the pandemic that was more serious at that point, right? He went golfing like he didn't care, right? Why did he do that? Did he know that was wrong? Yeah, it created controversy. That's all these people do, is they create controversy on purpose because people talk about it all the time, right? So the best way to do it is to just stop talking about these people and shut them out. Don't give them the attention they're desperately seeking, right? And it's more pathetic when men try to seek attention this way because it's not masculine energy to seek validation. It's like validation-seeking behavior. But anyway, enough said. Let's get right to the topic here because I'm almost halfway done on my walk and I really want to do this topic justice. Welcome to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, the Walking with Purpose live edition, live from very busy and sunny Red Morton Park. This is episode number 218. The topic today is of a very serious nature. Alcohol dependency will affect you more than you think. Please stop drinking. One more time. Alcohol dependency will affect you more than you think. Please stop drinking. There are many things that have inspired me to talk about this today and to dedicate a full entire show on this. Too many dimensions, so I'm not going to waste the time and take the time to do it because then I'll never get through everything by the time my walk is done after 3 laps. But what I can tell you folks, and what I will share with you here today is my experience with alcohol in my younger days. I will first start off by saying I have never been an alcoholic. And I've never felt the need for alcohol to get through my day, meaning I've never had any alcohol dependencies. But I have had some experiences with alcohol. And I will share with you folks why I had those experiences and why I feel, I allowed myself to drink that much in my younger days when it was something I really didn't want to do. A lot of times, folks, people start drinking because it is something that your friends or family members are doing, right? And it almost makes you feel the need that in order to fit in with them, that, if you're going to hang out with them, if you want to fit in with them, that you need to drink along with them. It's kind of like it's considered to be a social thing. And sure, there is such a thing as social drinking. And there is such a thing as, drinking with moderation and drinking responsibly in a social setting. That's not what I'm talking about here today, but I will kind of mention my thoughts about that as well in a second. But typically, people that allow their friends to convince them, come on, dude, have a drink with us, have a beer or two with us, right? Right? It first starts off with one beer or two beers, right? And then you're like, okay, I'll have a beer or two one time, no big deal, right? But then the next time you hang out, it's another one or two beers and sometimes three beers, right? And it just continues to spiral in that direction, right? And I will tell you, when I was, we've all, here's the thing, we've all had drinks under 21, okay? And I'm not afraid to come out and say, sure, I've had some drinks under 21, right? Okay? I'm 48 years old. I'm sure there's a statute of limitations, like, for, underage drinking. You're 48 years old now, Eli. That's like what? How long ago was that? Almost like 30 years ago, over 30 years ago. What's more important is sharing these stories of how I felt and what turned me around to not feel the need to drink any alcohol at my age. I'm not saying I don't have a drink every now and then, but I don't feel the need to drink alcohol. I don't, right? I used to play poker with the guys all the time, and it would become a drinking competition at the same time, and we would sit there and pound, 3 to 6 beers each, sometimes more, right? And, I would never drink and drive. I'll tell you that. That's one thing I've never, ever done. But I've gotten in cars with friends of mine that had, 3, 4, 5, 6 beers. Sure, they sat around for a little while, but I got in the car with them and they drove me home. Now, I did trust those friends, and they were pretty good drivers, and I guess you could say they knew how to hold their alcohol, but was that still the right thing to do? Today, I would never get into a car and drive any distance with anyone that's even had one drink. And I personally wouldn't drive myself if I even had one drink. The only time I will have a drink is typically, all right, I'm going to wait a second here. I think we're back live. Sorry, folks, I got cut off. Lots of people at the park. I think AT&T needs to update the towers out here. They need to put that 5G plus, which is called millimeter wave, that has higher capacity. Whoa, what was that? Is that a bird? Okay. So like I was saying, before I got cut off, I won't even drive if I have one drink. And if I'm going to have a drink, it's going to be at my place or at a hotel room if I'm out of town. Once I'm in for the night and I have a good 6 to 8 hours to sleep it off, even if I only have one drink. Now, sometimes I may have a couple of drinks, or it just depends, right? But if I have any drinks at all, I'll do it once I'm in for the night, wherever I'm at, and then I will sleep it off before I even consider getting into a car. That's how safe and cautious I am, and that's how you should be living your life as well, right? Now, in my younger days, have I ever driven after having a drink or two in the past and sitting around? Yes. And was I okay? Yes. Was I still under the influence? Yes. Was I probably over the limit? Probably not. Maybe close. But regardless, is it worth it, right? Is it worth it? Because when you get into a car and you've even had a drink and even if you sat around for a while, you never know what the breathalyzer is going to blow, right? You have to sit there and worry that A, you're going to make it home safely. You're not going to fall asleep at the wheel because alcohol is like a depressant and it makes you relaxed, right? Or B, you're going to pray to God that you don't get pulled over for whatever reason on your way home and then get a DUI, which is not worth it. And the funny thing is most people that drink alcohol don't even think about the repercussions until after they happen. And that's why I talk about these things, because you've got to think ahead of the repercussions of life before you take any action. Let me repeat that one more time. You've got to think ahead of the repercussions of life before you take any action, right? But most people don't think about it until after shit happens, right? I'm trying to change your mindset to think ahead. Something smells real good. It smells like Mexican fajitas. Oh, God, man. I'm ready to eat. Whew, man. Anyway. So, I would, have some drinks with my friends playing, poker, right? And, yeah, I'd have a designated driver, usually, right? And they would take me home. And what happened when I got home? I felt like I was ready to pass out. And I did pass out. And what does alcohol do to you? More than anything else, more than sodas, caffeinated sodas, or sodas in general, or coffee, or anything else. Alcohol is the number one thing that dehydrates you quicker and keeps you dehydrated more than anything. Alcohol will dehydrate the shit out of you. Well, you won't be able to shit because you're dehydrated. There's not enough water to push your shit through. Pardon my French, but that's the truth, right? It dehydrates you, right? So then you wake up the next morning, you got a hangover and you're severely dehydrated and you feel like crap and you don't feel like getting up out of bed, right? And it ruins at least half, if not the entire next day, and it affects all aspects of your life. It could affect your job, it can affect your relationship, your marriage, your family, your friends, everything. It affects everything. Because you chose to have a bunch of drinks the night before, thinking you were having fun with your friends, whether it was by way of peer pressure or you just, maybe you were trying to drink your blues away. A lot of people like to drink to drain their sorrows away. That's what makes people alcoholics, is the fact that when you drink alcohol, it gives you a temporary feeling of removing all your sorrows, right? It numbs the pain, right? It numbs the pain temporarily, right? Sure, it does, right? Temporarily is the key word, right? But at what danger does that put you? Even if you're not driving and you're walking, home from a bar after you've had a lot to drink, right? If you get so dehydrated on the way home while you're walking, right? And then you have no water or anything, right? And what if you just get so dehydrated you pass out right there on the street and there's no one around and you hit your head and you're in need of urgent medical care, or it's going to cost you your life? But even if you survive that, and then the cops end up finding you 2 hours later on their rounds, what's going to happen? Yeah, you weren't driving, but they could still arrest you for disorderly conduct, right? Because you're probably going to react to the cop being belligerent and drunk once they wake you up, right? And being intoxicated in public, even if you're not driving, is something you can get arrested for and or get a ticket for, right? Nobody thinks about these things, right? And before I share a story on my final lap regarding, and I kind of shared this story before regarding an ex-girlfriend I used to live with that ended up becoming a belligerent drunk. And it was the worst thing I've ever had to deal with regarding any woman I've dated. And I was living with this woman. My God, right? Why do people feel the need to drink? Why? To cure the pain? People have gone through a lot of things in life. Some people, and it's typically issues that stem back to their childhood. It could be abandonment issues, right? Maybe they didn't get enough strokes as a kid from their mother or father. So these people that drink end up feeling like nobody wants to be around them or nobody really wants them. So they use the bottle or the can to suppress that shitty feeling that they're feeling. And then the thing is, when good people like me try to associate with these people and see the greatness in them and try to uplift them, they fight me like a motherfucker. That's what they do. Because they're so used to being in that depressed state of their unresolved issues that stem back to their childhood. They're so used to being in that depressed state that anyone good that comes into their life to try to turn things around and truly help them, they're going to think we're automatically full of shit. And they're going to rebel, and they're going to try even harder to not let us, help them. In this case, help them, stop drinking so they can get better, right? Give me a second here. Let me come across the street here. There's another guy coming over here. So people drink to numb the pain, right? People also drink to conquer or try to cure social anxiety, right? Do you think that drinking alcohol is going to make you feel more socially acceptable, or is it going to make you feel more socially anxious? Alcohol is only going to enhance your current state of depression that you're in. It's not going to make you feel better. It may temporarily numb the pain to you, but the way people react after drinking their sorrows away is just a more belligerent way of how bad they were feeling. And they don't realize it because they're in an altered state of mind, but everyone around them that cares about them realizes it because we're in a good state of mind and we know how they are when they're normal and when they're not, right? In essence, I think one of the best things that we can do to help people that are alcoholics is record them when they're really drunk and play back for them what they were saying and how they were behaving in that altered state. Because guess what drunks do? Guess what alcoholics do? When you try to call them out on what they were saying and doing while they were belligerent and drunk, they deny it, right? But what if we get some video and show them so they can see and hear what they were saying and doing? That might turn them around, right? It'll probably embarrass them to the point of where, hey, wow, I can't believe I was behaving that way, right? Part of the issue is that people that are drinking alcohol don't even realize how they're coming off because they're using the alcohol to numb pain, to numb emotional pain from the past, typically stemming back to their childhood or a past relationship or marriage or abusive marriage or relationship. That's why they do it, right? And if alcohol could cure the blues and not screw with you any other way, I'd say, hey, that's a great medicine, but it harms you beyond any benefits it does of temporarily soothing your pain, your emotional pain, right? I'm on my third and final lap here. I'll share my story of this woman that I was dating in my early 30s. Just to make a long story short, after a while of living together, she ended up losing her job. She had a really good corporate job, ended up losing her job. And when she lost her job, she lost her soul, it seemed like. And you know, being the good guy I am, I always try to help people, including the women I date or have dated, to turn their life around, right? To help get back on track. But this woman, instead of, you know, allowing me to be a good guy and, you know, help her find other work and get back on track, she chose to, you know, turn to the bottle and the cans, right? Lots of hard alcohol and lots of beer and stuff. And when you mix hard alcohol with beer, that's the worst thing. That's like a huge recipe for disaster, right? You never mix drinks. That's the dumbest thing you can do, right? So I'd go to work, right? And when she wasn't working, she would stay home at our place, right? And what she would do is she would put this like towel on the carpet of the living room and just grab, you know, all the bottles and get a bunch of cans of beer and just sit there and drink all day. And I would come home and find her passed out almost every day. And every time I would try to talk with her about it, it would more and more trigger her. It would more so trigger her. It's very, very difficult to help alcoholics when they're going through something outside of the alcoholism that they're using the alcohol to suppress. Because remember, before they're even drinking, something is really hurting them deep within emotionally. There's some unresolved issues that are hurting them, right? And they're turning to the bottle or the cans to suppress that. And when they turn to the bottles and the cans to suppress that, it may temporarily numb their pain, but after a little while, it only further enhances, you know, all the negative shit they were feeling before they started drinking. So now you're trying to help someone through their original issues, and their original issues to them have heightened 3 or 4 times due to being drunk and belligerent. It's almost impossible to help someone like that in that state. You got to wait for them. You got to try to calm them down and wait for them to get back down to reality and sleep it off. And then try to talk with them in a roundabout way that's not going to trigger them, right? It's not easy dealing with alcoholics. It's not, right? To make a long story short, I tried to help her. I tried and tried and tried and tried to help her. When this first started happening, I tried to help her for a couple of months. And it came to the point of where, you know, she was kind of starting to get better, but then she relapsed and kept relapsing. And, you know, after 3 strikes, you're out. I had to let her go. And at that point, because she wasn't working, I was paying the entire rent. So at that point, she was living off of my dime. And I'm sitting here to myself and saying, fuck this. This woman is being disrespectful to me. She's ruining our place, which is technically now my place because she's not paying shit, right? I got to get rid of her. So I had to ask her to leave, and it wasn't the easiest thing to do. I gave her no choice. I almost had to call the police, right? And she was on the lease. So she ended up leaving. And then it took me like a month after that to get her name off the lease because, number one, they wanted me to try to hunt her down and get her signature. And I told the leasing office, I said, I had to let her go because she has alcohol issues. And I can't hunt her down. I'll take full responsibility of everything. Is there anything else you can do? And they said, wait a couple more weeks. And if not, we just need you to write a letter, explain the situation, sign it, and then we will terminate her off the lease. I'm like, hey, put the entire responsibility on me. I'm paying the entire rent anyway. All right? So that's what happened, right? And I escaped that. Now, did I want to escape or did I really want to help her get better? I'm the kind of person that wants to help everyone get better, but in some cases, when you try and try and try and try and try to help people, and nothing you say or do, even with the best intentions, helps them, you got to let them go. That's all you can do. And I luckily escaped something that could have gotten a lot worse. She could have busted some windows in the place or punched holes in the wall. Yeah, she made a bit of a mess on the carpet and this and that. And I had to get a rug doctor and use a ton of stain remover to clean the carpet. Spent a whole day doing that. And it was a pain in the ass enough. Don't get me wrong, it was a pain in the ass enough, but it could have been much worse. I was lucky because I identified the situation and I realized that staying in that relationship would have also harmed me. Her alcoholism was affecting me at that point. It was going to affect me financially, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and even physically. It was going to affect me. It was going to take me out. And by that point in my life, I was in my early 30s, and I would have an occasional drink every now and then, but I didn't drink as much as I did in my 20s. So that's that story. Folks, we are at approximately 58 minutes because I got cut off a couple times. Hopefully I don't get cut off again here. And during this last lap, let me just take off the shades. During this last lap, I want to talk about even drinking alcohol with moderation. Okay. Is it okay to drink alcohol with moderation? First of all, if you're at least 21 years of age or older, sure, it's okay. Now, I understand most people, including myself, in our younger days, have had a few drinks. Everyone's experimented with it, even though it's against the law and you can lose your license for it, right? I think everybody has experienced some form of alcohol before they're 21, right? Even the cops out there nowadays, okay? We've all experienced it, right? But because I'm a grown-ass adult, and if I could do things all over again differently in my 20s, would I have caved into peer pressure and had as many drinks as I had? I mean, there was one night, I'll tell you, there was one night I was so drunk. It was on my 21st birthday. My friends took me out. They got me so drunk, like I got home and I literally threw up everywhere. It was a shitty feeling. I woke up the next day, dry mouth. I had to literally sleep for like 16 hours. It killed my day. Is that the way you want to live your life? How many days of your life? Life is so short and limited. How many days of your life do you want to give up because you're hungover? Because you got belligerently drunk the night before caving into peer pressure because your friends wanted you to do that with them, right? You have a choice on what to do and not to do, right? And now, at my age, I don't cave into peer pressure worth shit. I do my own thing. If people try to push me into doing something I don't want to do, you feel like giving them the bird. I'm not going to show you that here. You know what the bird is, right? You feel like flipping them off and giving them the bird and telling them F you, right? And maybe I've done that in the past, right? But at this age right now, I don't even do that. It's not worth it. I just say, no, I'm not interested. No, dude, it's all good. I don't do those kind of things anymore. I'm a grown-ass man. Call me boring. Call me, square or whatever. I don't give a shit. I'm not into that. Have fun with the other guys. Go and get belligerently drunk and be hungover and ruin the next few days of your life. That's where life is already limited as it is, right? I'd rather not drink and enjoy a nice hike tomorrow with friends or somebody I'm with or whatever, right? And do something more productive, right? Do something that's going to further get me ahead and set me behind. That's what alcoholism does. It sets you behind, right? It does. So let's talk about social drinking, like I was going to say. Social drinking, is it okay? With moderation, sure. A glass of wine every now and then or during dinner has some great health benefits, right? Most guys like beer. I like a good beer myself too. Don't get me wrong, right? Having a beer every now and then with dinner or before bed or whatever, is that cool? Or if you're watching a football game or something, sure. Nothing wrong with that, right? As long as you drink responsibly and with moderation, right? Now, even people that drink moderately, are they going to have a few too many drinks every now and then and have a drunken episode? I think everyone's experienced that, right? But I'm talking about the people that have drunken episodes every single night. That's where it becomes an issue, right? That's alcoholism, right? If you drink excessively once in a great while, right? It's the right thing to do. All right, we should be back live. We should be back live. That's 3 times today I've been cut off. Some days it's more than others. Some days it doesn't happen at all. But like this park is literally full today. All lots, right? So, you got a lot of parents and their kids sucking up all the bandwidth from the cell tower that I'm trying to use to stream as well. So what do you expect? I mean, it makes sense, right? Typically on the weekdays when there are fewer people, I don't have as many issues or no issues at all. AT&T need to come put a 5G plus millimeter wave, super tower out here. That's why 5G was built. They'll get to it. In the meantime, you know what? We'll deal with it, right? Respectfully, professionally, maturely, right? It's all good. It's all good, right? So here's the thing. But even if you're a, moderate drinker, or you're a social drinker, meaning that you're a responsible drinker, right? How does it affect you? Let me tell you how it affects me, right? Even if I have one drink right before I go to bed, which is really not good because you're basically dehydrating yourself right before you go to sleep, which is going to prevent you from getting good sleep, right? And it's going to make you feel like you have to get up, every 30 or 60 minutes to rehydrate with water. What else is that going to do? It's going to make you piss like a racehorse every half hour or hour. You're going to be getting in and out of bed every hour to drink more water to offset your dehydration and to also piss it out. Then you're not going to be able to sleep. And if you have to work the next day, you're not only going to be hungover if you've had too much, right? Or even if you only had one drink, you're still going to have dry mouth. Even one drink can give you dry mouth and dehydrate you to the level of where it's going to affect the next day, right? It's going to affect your sleep. It's going to affect you at work, or if it's, on the day you have off, it's going to affect you from doing what you're going to do on your day off. Even one drink, which technically, with moderation, isn't necessarily a bad thing. But even one drink is going to dehydrate you. And possibly even give you a slight hangover, okay? I'm not saying it's going to give you a major hangover, right? That's what alcohol does. That's what alcohol does. Even when you drink moderately. That's why whenever I go out with my lady, I get either a coffee or a Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi. I don't feel the need to drink. Number one, because I'm happy within myself. I love who I am. Right? And I'm secure within myself. And number two, because I know how it's going to make me feel. It's going to make me feel shitty. If not shortly afterwards, later that night before I go to sleep. And like I said, it'll dehydrate me all night, keep me drinking water, pissing like a racehorse every hour, losing sleep, and then getting up the next morning with a possible hangover, dry mouth, etc. Right? So I think ahead regarding what I put into my body and what I drink, right? What I eat and what I drink. I think ahead on how it's going to affect me, not only in the current moment, but how it's going to affect me later on that day or night or the next day or the next few days. Most people don't think that far ahead. And you should. And that's why I do what I do. Most of you probably even know all these principles I'm teaching. You're just choosing to stick to the bottle. Or the can, right? Or the cans, right? Why? It's because it's the easy way out. It's the quickest and easy way out to cure the blues so you can make it through your day to get the things you need to get done that keep you moving forward, right? You want to know what's a great alcohol replacement, in my opinion? And a lot of people would probably challenge me on this. It's coffee. And not just any coffee. Not the instant crap, right? Fresh ground coffee. Coffee does have health benefits when you drink it within moderation. If you drink 2 to 3 cups of coffee per day throughout your day, okay, I will tell you, it will curb your alcohol. If you're an alcoholic, or if you're one that likes to have social drinks, it'll curb you from wanting to have alcohol. It'll stimulate you in different ways, in more positive ways. It'll energize you in a more positive way and will keep you energized longer throughout the day, instead of alcohol that will do the complete opposite. It'll depress you. It's a depressant, and it'll eventually relax you so much to the point of where you want to go to sleep. Or if you get dehydrated quickly enough, depending on how much you drink, you'll pass out wherever you're at. You might be walking somewhere, and you just fall and pass out all of a sudden. Why? Because you're dehydrated as fuck. You got too much alcohol. Coffee does the exact opposite, right? That's my recommendation, is coffee. But another thing, drink lots of water. Drink at least 8 glasses of 8 ounces. I can't even talk. Let's try that again, Eli. Drink 8 cups of water. 8-ounce cups of water. There we go. Get your verbiage straight, Eli. You're not belligerent and drunk here. So don't behave like one, right? That's just a joke, please. This is a serious topic, right? But we have to have a little fun at the same time too, right? folks, it just isn't worth it. It just isn't worth it. If you're suffering from alcohol dependency, also known as alcoholism, if you're an alcoholic, right? Please get the help that you need. And don't let anyone belittle you or criticize you for what you're going through, because what you're going through is really not your fault. It's because of something traumatic you experienced, or many traumatic things you experienced, stemming back to your childhood, or a past abusive marriage or relationship, or friendship, or whatever. There's some past unresolved trauma that is still plaguing you, and you're turning to the bottle or the cans to numb the pain. It only temporarily numbs the pain, maybe for a half an hour or an hour until you pass out, like I said, right? Wouldn't you rather cure the pain that you're going through permanently and have a happy and healthy life with positive, amazing people that aren't belligerent drunks? Think about it. What would you rather do? Associate with belligerent drunks and be a belligerent drunk for the rest of your life? Or would you rather remove that aspect of your life? Turn it around. Stop the drinking, get the help you need. And hang around with positive, uplifting people like myself. And enjoy life in the way it was meant to be enjoyed. Because here's the thing. For those of you out there that continue turning to the bottle and the cans, it's going to catch up to you. If it hasn't caught up to you already, it will catch up to you. If you drink and drive, you will eventually either get a DUI or you will end up in a ditch somewhere and probably not make it. And if it's a rural area, no one's going to find you. You're going to be gone. I hate to say it as straight up as this, but that's the truth. You will also pay the price with your friends, relationships, marriages, family, etc. You will lose it all due to alcohol. And you don't deserve to lose it, because most people that are alcohol dependent or alcoholics, they do it to try to cure some unresolved pain that can be easily resolved if you talk to the right people, let the right people help you and support you through it. People that care about you, right? You think other people that drink are going to care about helping you work through your drinking issue that's destroying your life? No, they're going to further sink you into their depression, right? You got to remove those people from your life and focus on positive, uplifting, normal people that are responsible in every aspect of life, including with their alcohol consumption. And that's how you're going to turn your life around. That's how you're going to turn your life around right there. If not, your time may be limited. And I don't want to see anyone, lose their life over something as stupid as alcohol. It's not worth it. I'll say this. My lady and I, when she hung out with me for a couple days last week, okay, we got a little bit of alcohol, just to have some social drinks, right? She likes some different stuff than I do, so I bought myself like a 6-pack of hard apple cider. I love apple cider. It's good shit. And yes, it is a manly drink and a woman drink. It's not an unmanly drink to drink hard cider. But I wouldn't give a shit if you thought it was. I don't care. I like what I like, regardless of what you think I should drink or not. Regardless of what you think is manly or not. Who cares? Right? And I also got some peach cider in cans or something like that. Right? was a six-pack, right? Two six-packs. One was bottles, the cider, and then the peach cider was like in cans, right? So I opened up one of the cans of the peach cider before going to bed. I literally drank like a fourth of it, if that. And it tasted like shit. And I just spilled it out. That was like last week or like a week and a half ago. Do you know how many drinks are still left out of my six-pack of the apple cider and the six-pack of the peach cider? I still have 5 cans of peach cider. And I still have 6 bottles of apple cider. I haven't had a drink since then. And I've got this peach cider and this, what do you call it? The apple cider sitting there on my kitchen rack that has my sodas on it, right? And it's just sitting there. And every time I walk into my kitchen to make coffee or get a soda or get some water, right? It's right in my face. And I look at it and I say, you know what? I'm not in the mood for you right now. And I'm not. Because if I was alcohol dependent and needed alcohol, I would have pounded those in one night or 2 nights, right? And see, why do you come out here each and every day and do these streams with great energy and I do 3-mile walks minimum every day? Why? Because I keep myself hydrated and I don't drink. Occasionally I'll have one. Not a bad thing, but it's occasionally, right? And I typically will only have a drink or so on a special occasion, like if I'm hanging out with my lady or something, right? Or a special event or something, right? And even then, if I don't feel like drinking, I won't. All I'm telling you folks is that I don't feel the need to drink. And you should look at it the same way. That doesn't mean you should never have a drink, but if you're going to do it because, you want to just, enjoy a social, relaxing drink every once in a while, not because it's what it's going to numb the pain of what you're going through. You know what? Work with someone like me. Or, if it's that bad and you may need to call AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, and get some treatment, talk with your doctor about it, right? And in the worst cases where someone is so far gone, they may need to go to rehab. I think rehab is a last resort. I think that most people can be cured of alcoholism without rehab, but some people, it's the only option, right? And some people will go to rehab and still relapse, right? But most people can be saved. Most people can turn this around. It's up to you if you want to turn it around. Because I will tell you something. There are people out there that love you, regardless of what you think. To all you alcoholics out there, there are many people that love you, no matter what you think. And they're looking forward to the day where you get off the alcohol so they can be graced by your amazing, beautiful, natural presence. I could go on and on and on and on and talk about this forever. But I'm going to wrap things up here, folks. We're at approximately an hour and 19 minutes. I did get cut off 3 times on this show. I think we're good now. I'm letting you folks know that later tonight, I'm going to be doing an in-studio stream. Crazy Dating Stories, Volume 7. I've got 5 great Reddit stories to share. I was thinking of also sharing some other current event stuff, but I'm not going to do that because any live streams I do from the studio, for the most part, I'm trying to create evergreen content. So when it goes to a replay, it'll have value, a year, 2 years, 5 years down the road. If I put some current event stuff, it has a short shelf life. So I'll be doing 5 crazy dating story Reddit stories tonight and situations. And they're always interesting. Last night was The last of 5 episodes of bedtime stories I created in that batch. So no bedtime stories coming tonight. In lieu of that, I'll be doing an in-studio stream for a few hours. And it's more than likely going to start at around midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific. I got to eat dinner. I want to talk with my lady for a little bit. And then make another pot of coffee instead of drinking alcohol, which will stimulate me to give me that energy that's so infectious and you folks love and enjoy to help you get through anything you need help with. Again, I'm going to wrap this up. We're at about an hour and 21 minutes or so. Thank you to everyone for being here. Thank you to Lewis Fuller for being here earlier. Thank you to Derek for being here, and anyone else watching behind the scenes. Have yourselves a great night. Take it easy. Maybe I'll see you on the live stream from the studio later tonight, approximately at around 12 midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific. And if not, you can always catch the replay. Take care, and as always, be good to each other. Love you all.